Amigos, hola, Stuart here with another video, and Spain is an incredible place to live. Sunshine, food, beaches, quality of life. But here's the truth, most videos don't tell you. Living in Spain comes with some surprises, the kind nobody talks about before moving here. So today we're looking at some of the real unspoken downsides of living in Spain that many people don't mention. And my intention with this video is not to scare you, but just let you know what it's actually like living in this country. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, and this is something that often catches people off guard, and it is housing quality. And sometimes this can be the biggest shock for newcomers to this country. Inside, it's often a different story. Think thin walls, little insulation, boiling in summer, freezing in winter. In some parts of the country, you won't find central heating in homes, and many homes don't have air conditioning units. And don't get me started on small kitchens. You won't believe how small some kitchens can be in apartments and homes in this country. For example, where my mother-in-law lives, I'll tell you, I have never seen a smaller kitchen, a kitchen that can barely fit more than 2 people in it at the same time. And my mother-in-law loves to cook, and this is her biggest frustration, how small the kitchen is. As I said, it's unbelievable. And when it comes to plumbing, especially in some of the older homes here in Spain, watch out. And if you've ever wondered what your neighbors are doing here in Spain, don't worry, because with those thin walls that I mentioned a minute ago, you'll know exactly what your neighbors are getting up to at any time of the day. You'll hear them coughing, you'll hear them sneezing, you'll hear them arguing, and you'll hear them doing other things that I can't mention in this video. Wink, wink. Humidity can also be a huge problem here in Spain, especially in some of the coastal areas. Where I am here in the central part of the country, not so much because it's a very dry climate, but believe me, down in Andalusia on the coast, in the Valencian community on the coast, places like Murcia, you're going to get serious humidity and it can cause issues. So the quality of housing here in Spain is something that, as I mentioned, often catches people off guard when they first move here. So keep it in mind. Now, the next thing I need to bring to people's attention, people that are considering moving to Spain, is the cost of living and the fact that it is rising. Spain used to be cheap, and a lot of people think that it still is, but the reality nowadays is far different. Rent, for example, has gone through the roof in big cities here in Spain, especially in places like Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, and Malaga. Groceries are another thing that cost a lot more than they used to do. The inflation rate on groceries here in Spain has been high for the last few years, and a lot of people have been affected by this. When it comes to restaurants, especially in big cities, you can't find many bargains anymore, especially when you order a la carte. But fortunately, Spain still has the menu of the day option, so you can eat for a reasonable price. But as I said, go a la carte or order from the menu, and you're going to be paying expensive prices for things like meat and fish. Electricity prices and gas prices here in Spain can also be quite painful, and a lot of places here in Spain that have been affected by mass tourism charge European prices for things. Go to some of the big cities nowadays, especially the central parts of the cities. Again, think Madrid, think Barcelona, also think Malaga and some of the coastal areas that are very, very popular, and they're charging those European prices for food and for drink. So be warned about that. So Spain is still affordable compared to northern European countries and some other countries in the world, for example, Australia, but the days of finding bargains here in Spain, I reckon, are long gone. Now, salaries here in Spain are another important thing that we need to talk about, and for a lot of people, they are surprisingly low. And this is the other side of the cost of living equation. Now, if you are retired and planning a move to Spain, skip this section because it's not really for you. But if you are of working age and you think you're going to come to Spain, find a good job, get a good salary, and have fantastic career prospects, think again. Because typical monthly salaries here in Spain for a lot of people are under 2,000 euros a month. Yes, that's right, under 2,000 euros a month. Can you live on 2,000 euros a month here in Spain? I hear you asking. Well, it depends. It depends where you are living, of course. If you're living in a big city, Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, maybe not. But if you're living in one of the quieter rural parts of the country, 2,000 euros could go a long way. But again, you're not going to find much work in those parts of the country. Oh, and when I talked about salaries a moment ago and mentioned the figure of 2,000 euros, a lot of people don't even make that the minimum salary in this country, and there are a lot of people earning the minimum salary, and that's around 1,250 euros a month. So pretty dire. And another thing that I need to mention is that highly skilled workers here in Spain are earning far less than their counterparts in other countries doing exactly the same job. And when it comes to careers here in Spain, a lot of people complain that career progression is quite slow, at least compared with their peers in other countries. So Spain is a country that offers lifestyle, but not high wages. That's one of the reasons why people love Spain, but it's also a reason why many people end up leaving the country. Now, time to talk about the weather, and I'm going to be honest about this, it isn't always as perfect as it looks. The sunshine here in Spain is the marketing. Extreme weather, however, is the reality. Summers here in Spain, especially in the central parts of the country and also in the southern parts of the country, can be extremely hot. Think 35 degrees Celsius, maybe a few degrees above that, and that's what you're going to get for most of those summer months. And another thing that I need to warn you about is that nighttime temperatures are also extremely hot, making it very, very difficult for a lot of people to get to sleep. Now, I know what you're thinking, Stuart, I'm going to be moving to a coastal area. It'll be a little bit cooler there, right? Well, unfortunately, it's often not the case because you have to take into consideration the very high humidity levels. In fact, in some places with high temperatures and high humidities, you would get the impression that you are in a tropical country. And remember, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, a lot of homes here in Spain still don't have air conditioning. When it comes to winter temperatures, again, depending on where you are, here in the central part of the country, for example, winters can be quite cold, hence the clothes that I am wearing today. And homes, due to that poor insulation that I also mentioned at the beginning of the video, can get quite cold. It is true that here in Madrid and in many parts of central Spain, you're going to get central heating, so the home should be warm, but it also means that your heating bills are going to be quite high. And when it comes to the northern part of the country, it's going to be very, very wet. Winters in that part of Spain are wet. And while we're on the subject of weather, we need to talk about some of the extreme weather phenomenons that have taken place in Spain over the last few years. Think floods, think drought, think wildfires, and a lot of experts are saying that these extreme weather conditions are only going to get worse going forward. So yes, Spain does have some amazing weather, but just not the way that a lot of people imagine it to be. And speaking of extreme weather conditions, let me quickly show you something that has saved me every time I come in or go out of Spain. Now, if you travel a lot or pack like I do, you'll need luggage that can actually handle Spain's trains, airports, and the occasional cobblestone street. That's why I've been using the Level 8 Voyager 28-inch check-in suitcase. First up, I'll speak about durability. This thing is built with a tough polycarbonate shell, so it's lightweight but seriously solid. It doesn't scratch easily, it doesn't dent, and it holds up even when an airport here in Spain drops it from orbit. The minimal design looks premium. It's one of those bags people notice. Now, my favorite thing about this suitcase would have to be the wheels. They're quiet 360-degree spinners that glide even when the suitcase is stuffed. Spanish airports, tiled streets, hotel lobbies, zero effort. And the telescopic handle has zero wobble, which honestly makes a huge difference. Inside, it's deceptively spacious. A full zippered divider, compression straps, pockets for shoes, cables and laundry. Perfect whether you're heading off on a weekend getaway or a long trip to cooler parts of Europe to escape the August heat. You also get a TSA lock, rounded corners, great zippers, so I never have to worry about this suitcase on long-haul flights. And if you're moving to Spain or staying longer term, you'll need to pack for multiple seasons: hot summers, chilly apartments in winter, and everything in between. So if you want a reliable suitcase for traveling in and out of Spain, the Level 8 Voyager 28-inch check-in suitcase is one of the best options out there. Now, if you want to get your hands on one of these suitcases, I'll leave a link in the description box below. Click it and also use the code SpainSpeaks10 to get a 10% discount. And Level 8 also has a Black Friday sale on at the moment, so take advantage of that too. Now back to the video. Are Spanish people friendly? Yes. Are Spanish people warm and welcoming? Absolutely. But friendships? They can take time. I've mentioned this a few times in other videos that I have done over the years, and it is that a lot of people here in Spain tend to have very old friendship groups. They still hang around with people that they went to primary school with, people that they went to high school with, people that they went to university with, and those are their friendship groups. And let's not forget family. Family plays a huge role in people's lives here. And what that means is that a lot of people, in my opinion, are not all that open to making new friends, and trying to fit into those already established friendship groups and family groups is very, very hard. And if you don't speak Spanish, it's going to be even harder. A lot of people will pretend that they like speaking English, and they might have conversations with you for a while, but believe me, it's not going to go on forever. And even when you do get a decent level of Spanish, people are not going to be falling over to become friends with you. So when you move here, you're not going to be lonely, but finding those true friends is not going to take months. It might take years. Now, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many people, Spain prioritizes lifestyle over convenience, and that can have consequences. For example, in a lot of towns and cities here in Spain, many shops, especially the small shops, will close in the middle of the day from 2 to 5 p.m. Again, lifestyle over convenience. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand completely why this happens. People that work in retail often work long hours, and they need to have a break during the middle of the day because they start work in the morning, they work until 8 or 9 p.m. and they want to have some time off. I get it, but if you are not fully in that Spanish lifestyle, finding a shop shut for 3 hours in the middle of the day might be a bit of an inconvenience. And a lot of times, especially with small businesses that are run by 1 or 2 people, don't expect that business to open at the exact time. If it says it's going to open at 5 p.m., it might not open until 5:15 because people are not prioritizing punctuality. When it comes to getting administrative tasks done here in Spain, for a lot of people, it can be very, very frustrating because admin moves at the pace of a relaxing turtle a lot of the times. When it comes to dealing with bureaucracy here in Spain, a lot of people find it frustrating. Again, I've mentioned this on numerous occasions. A lot of civil servants here in Spain seem to prioritize lifestyle over efficiency, and that can be an issue. How many times have I gone into a busy public organization here in Spain like the tax authority or the social security authority and seen only 1 or 2 people sitting at their desks? You'll see 5 or 6 desks empty where people are either off or having a coffee, and only 2 people serving the public. And believe me, that gets frustrating. And don't get me started on the month of August here in Spain, especially in the central part of the country when people are taking their yearly holidays. They've all gone to the coast, and a lot of the services in this part of the country shut down during that month. Almost impossible to get things done, almost impossible to get deliveries. If your plumbing system breaks down, you won't find a plumber, and if you need an electrician, good luck. And if you're in a coastal part of Spain that fills up with tourists during the month of August, you'll have to get used to 3 or 4 times the normal population, and that also puts a stress on services. So keep that in mind as well. Now, we need to talk about noise, and believe me, this can be a noisy country. People here love to shout, they love to express their opinions, and they love to let everybody know what their opinion is. I don't know why they like to do this. People don't seem to be discreet. You go to a bar or a restaurant, there's a group of 5 or 6 people, and they are all shouting over each other a lot of the times. You can't understand what one person is trying to say when 5 people are speaking at the same time, and it gets annoying. And also the noise from these bars and restaurants can be intense, especially during the summer months when they have outdoor seating, people sitting outside, big groups of people, lots of kids playing as well, making a lot of noise. And if your flat or apartment happens to be above one of these places, you might be in for a rough night. Traffic noise here in Spain in the majority of the cities echoes through the streets. It all has to do with the way Spain's cities are built. Upward living, of course, upward buildings, and the noise reverberates off the buildings throughout the day. Parties here in Spain can also be an issue for many people. I'm not necessarily talking about private parties at people's homes. I'm talking about street parties. I'm talking about drinking parties when young people get together at the weekend, come to a park like this one here, drink the night away and make a lot of noise and a lot of rubbish. That can be an issue. And then every town, village and city here in Spain has fiestas as well, the town festival, and that is a very noisy time as well. Here where I live, the music goes on until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, a massive sound system, the whole town can hear it, and it's very difficult to get to sleep if you're living close to that area. If you're at the party, no problem, but if you're not at the party, and don't forget those thin walls that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. You will know exactly what your neighbors are up to at every moment of the day. So if you are noise sensitive, you might be in for a bit of a challenge here in Spain. Now, time to talk about how direct people here in Spain can be. And honestly speaking, this was something that took me quite a while to get used to. Spanish people like to use the imperative tense when they speak, which is something that in English we don't often do unless we're giving orders. For example, to an animal, for example, to my dog, I'll use the imperative, sit down, do this, do that. That is the imperative. However, Spanish people use this tense a lot more than we do. When they're out and about, you'll hear this tense all the time, and it can sound very direct. But don't worry, it's just the way people speak here. To give you an example, if I go into a bar or a restaurant in England, Australia, the States, I would normally say, could I have, or please, could I have something? But here in Spain, it is not often the case. A lot of people will say, ponme or dame, which is the direct order. Give me this or give me that. Yes, they might use the words please or thank you afterwards. That initial sentence is going to be very direct. And you'll hear this imperative tense used by the locals here all the time. And as I said, it's not meant to be rude, it's just very direct, and it might take a little bit of time to get used to. Now, this is perhaps the most unexpected downside of them all. Spain is too good at helping you live well. Think long meals, think days at the beach, think an easy social life, and if you are working here in Spain, most likely you will have a relaxed work culture. Oh, and for the majority of the year, the sun will be shining. It might be a little bit too hot, but the sun will be shining. You might also slow down, you might prioritize quality of life over career, and you might become really comfortable. The downside of that is that some people lose momentum without realizing it. But honestly speaking, is that really a downside? So those are some of the downsides of living in Spain, some of the unspoken downsides that people don't often tell you about. Which one surprised you the most? And if you have another one to add to the conversation today, I would love to hear it in the comment section below. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments also, please leave them in the section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss a video when I publish it. Until the next one, hasta luego from Spain.